Welcome to Inside Look by Brooks. My name is Steve Brooks. Today's topic is, what do you do when you're in an accident and you're waiting for the police to show up? So I find that a lot of people come in to see us after they've experienced an accident and out on the highway or a local road, and we start asking, did you take pictures of the scene? Did you take pictures of the other car? And, they kind of look down and say, no, I was traumatized by the accident. And I get that. So what I'm telling you today is, what I kind of my fantasy land wish list that you would do if you were in an accident. First of all, when you're in an accident, you want to make sure that you're away from the road. So when you start taking pictures, that you're not going to get hit or hurt worse than the original accident caused. So make sure you're safe before you start taking pictures. But your phone is going to be your best friend at an accident scene, because your phone and your camera are going to record all the things that I could never reproduce at that moment in time when that accident happened. That evidence can be invaluable. So take pictures of the roadway showing any skid marks, and try to get several pictures of the intersection from different angles. And here's another good one. Always try to get pictures of the other car that was involved in the accident, including their license tag. A lot of times when we call the police, you think the police are going to show up, they're going to put this information on a report, and I'll be able to have that information in the future. Well, a lot of times the police get busy, they get on a more emergency call, a elevated call, and it could be hours before they come. And sometimes people mutually agree that because the accident, no one went to the hospital, or the accident wasn't serious enough to actually leave the accident scene before the police arrive. I never recommend that. You always want to wait for the police. But those things kind of do happen. And so we had an accident come into our law firm this week where they didn't wait for the police. And now we're looking for the defendant and can't find the person who caused the accident. So pictures of the road, pictures of the scene itself from several different angles, pictures of the car that caused the accident and their tag number. And then if you can get pictures of the damages to not only your car, but to the other car. Pictures of the damages can be important because sometimes we have a hard time finding where the defendant or the at-fault party took their car to repair. Sometimes they choose to receive the money from the insurance company and not repair it. So we don't have any idea what the repairs are, and we can't get pictures. So pictures of damages to both vehicles, the scene, the roadway. Then here's another one. Witnesses disappear. There are witnesses to accidents. They usually stop. They'll come up and say, are you okay? I saw what happened. But they usually don't stick around for the police to show up. So try to get them to pull out their license, get a picture of the license in case you needed to contact them in the future. Try to get a phone number. Try to get their version of the facts. So scene, the roadway, the cars, the tag numbers, witness information. Also, if any signs were knocked down in the accident, try to get a picture of that. We also want to have pictures just so we know what the weather was at that moment, if the roads were wet or slippery for some reason. So we want pictures for that. And then make sure when you talk to the police that you never admit fault. A lot of people will assume that they were at fault, 100% at fault, when in reality, the other side had a big part to do with the accident. For instance, I've had clients come in here and say, well, it was my fault I ran the stop sign. Well, did you really run the stop sign, or did you stop and then go? And because the car coming the other way was speeding, there was a collision and you misjudged the speed of the car. So you may have been a little at fault by stopping and then going when there was oncoming traffic, but the other car is at fault too because they were speeding. So in essence, you both caused the accidents. Florida is a comparative negligence state. So, you know, we can argue, the insurance company can argue that we can argue their insured was 50 or 60 or 70% at fault. You know, they can argue the same thing about you. And, you know, usually we settle somewhere in the middle. But if you admit 100% fault, the police officer may not even go so far as to really get detailed and granular about the nuances of what caused that accident. So be careful about admitting fault, not only to the police officer, but to the other driver. So, you know, be kind, be nice, but don't admit fault. The other thing, sometimes an insurance company will show up at the scene while you're waiting on the police officer, and they'll say, oh, by the way, do you mind if I get a recorded statement from you? You don't want to do that. I would rather you say, you know, I want to wait and talk to my lawyer before I give that. Now, you are contractually bound by your insurance document with your insurance company, in most cases, to cooperate by giving a statement to your insurance company. You have no contractual obligation with the at-fault party's insurance company to give them any kind of statement, or whether recorded or not. So let your lawyer help you make that decision, because you do not want that to come back to haunt you. So those are my tips on what to do at the scene of an accident. Thank you for joining me today. We look forward to seeing you next Friday at 3 o'clock for Friday's Inside Look by Brooks. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, steve@brookslawgroup.com. I'll be glad to get back with you and see if I can help you. Thank you for joining me.